So this is going to be an unboxing assembly video for the new, well, I guess it's not new, but the Inline Industries Dubby Precision Miter Sled. The reason I decided to do this, well, let me back up. This past weekend I was at the woodworking show in Tampa, comes around once a year, and this guy that I met there, I believe his name is Jerry Cole. He's the designer, inventor of the Dubby Precision Miter Sled. And he gave a pretty compelling demonstration, I guess you'd call it, on the values and uses of his precision miter sled. And I was kind of in the market for a crosscut sled, and I've made them in the past before. I sometimes question their accuracy in the ones that I've made, but they worked, they were suitable. This one affords what I consider to be a lot more flexibility. Now, in order to have an effective crosscut sled, especially the Dubby Precision Miter Sled, you actually need to have both right and left of the sleds in order to connect the two of them. And then you end up with a miter sled, or if you connect the two, you end up with a crosscut sled. And it's got some really unique features and accuracy features that I really, really liked. Now, the reason I really decided to make this video was because I went ahead and assembled the left side, as you can see here. And the way this works essentially is that you can adjust this with a scale, I don't know if you can see that, down the side of it, to any number of degrees to make your cuts on, your miter cuts. And there is a lot of ability here. I mean, 25.7 degrees, 25 degrees, 22.5, 20, and as you can see in the hash marks, everywhere in between. So this is the box. It's pretty well packaged. I noticed that it says made in Taiwan on the label, so obviously they must sub this out, and they have everything built to their specifications in Taiwan, have it sent back here to the United States. I'm very much a stickler for buying American, but to be honest with you, there wasn't anything that I could find that was American, short of building my own, and I questioned my accuracy on building my own, so I went ahead and went for this. So let's open it up. Let's see what's inside. So, take the box off. I have to say, it's pretty well packaged. I had no issues with it. I could see, during shipment, how things could get shuffled around and banged around, but they do use a lot of styrofoam. They package everything in boxes, so I'm pretty pleased with all of that. Here's your set of instructions. Now here's a package that has the rear fence, it has the scale, and it has the miter bar attached to it as well, or included in this package. And then it has also the stop, the adjustable stop. It's all sort of installed, if you will, on the back fence. In here, a bunch of styrofoam pieces. In here is the box that contains all of the smaller bits and pieces. Let me get a knife real quick. We'll cut that open. As you can tell, I'm not a videographer either. So here's the little parts. Here's that end cap. It's made out of oak. It's seems to be pretty well constructed. Obviously, they must make this in Taiwan on a CNC. Here's the adjustable part for making sure that the back fence is square to the table. It has a plunger in it that you can adjust, and we'll go into that a little bit more. But I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. It has the two screws that attach this to the table, and then there's two thumb screws and two nuts that are also used to attach this piece to the back of the fence. This is the biggest hardware pack. This has the large thumb screws, or knobs if you will, that you can loosen the fence and adjust your miter angles. It has a hold down clamp. They do come with a hold down clamp. Here's one here. I didn't put it on the the unit yet, the left-hand side. I don't know if I will or I won't. But you have to take one of the large thumb screws off. This one here, actually. This one. You take this off, and then this goes, that goes through there, and then you put this back on. I don't know if it's going to get in my way or if I'll use it enough. It's a fairly stout little hold down. I probably will put it on, but I just haven't done it yet. Alright, and then as I said, it has the thumb screws and the washers and the T-nuts necessary to install the adjustable knobs for the miter. And then in here is, I believe this is the Mylar strips, yeah. This has 3 Mylar strips in them that they suggest that you put on the bottom of the sled to aid in its ability to glide. So that's it for the unboxing. Now it's a matter of trying to get all these parts out and start putting it. Oh, sorry, I take that back. There's one important part I left out, and that is the MDF piece, the foundation board, if you will, down here. This is underneath. It's sandwiched between 2 pieces of styrofoam. It's in pretty good shape. They put styrofoam all the way there on the outside of it, so if it does shift, it keeps that melamine from cracking or the MDF from crumbling. So we'll see. I'll get this all apart, get everything laid out, and then I'll come back and we'll continue the video. As far as tools are concerned, it doesn't take a lot of tools to do this. I basically used a small flat-bladed screwdriver that was used to adjust the ball bearings on the side of the plungers, if you will, on the side of the miter bar. A pencil, a digital caliper, and I'll explain the purpose of that, but basically it's to adjust the miter bar to the width of your miter slots, but there are other ways to do that if you don't have one. A Phillips head screwdriver and a decent square. I recommend that you do not use a power drill or cordless screwdriver on this at all, because this is MDF. If you don't control this, you will strip out the MDF and you'll have some huge problems. So a Phillips head screwdriver and that small flat blade are really all that you need for the assembly of this unit. So as far as assembly goes, I'm gonna do my best to show you probably the easiest way, I guess, to put this together. It may or may not follow the recommendations in the instructions. That's strictly up to you, but I just built one, so I kind of know how this is going to go and what order things should probably be done in. First thing you need to do is apply those Mylar strips if you choose to do that. Now the next thing you need to do at this point is to get the miter bar set up for the slots in your miter saw. Now, as you can see, when I put this in there, in my slot, in my miter slot, in my delta, there's some play back and forth, and that's the reason for the plungers. So the plungers allow you to adjust the ball bearing out a little bit, take up the slack in the miter slot, and get a more positive fit. Now, I do recommend that before you do this, you ensure that the slot is clean. You don't want any debris in there that's going to affect the fit of the miter bar in the slot. And as you can see, there's some sawdust in there, so I want to make sure I get that out. So they give you 2 methods to do this. I was kind of intuitive, so I didn't bother to read the instructions, and then as I went along I did read them. So for the benefit of this video, I'll show you both ways. If you have a set of dial calipers, obviously turn them on. These are digital ones. And then you want to measure the width of your miter slot. And you want to make sure that you get it fairly tight and it's a good fit, and you get a measurement and then tighten it down. In this particular case, mine measures 0.75. So at that point you can take the screwdriver and adjust the ball bearing so that it comes proud of the miter bar the edge of the miter bar, to the 0.75 measurement. Now they recommend that you go a couple thousandths more than the actual measurement because they are spring-loaded plungers. Now the other method is to do nothing more than put the bar in the slot and then find your adjustments and just use a feel, which in my opinion works better. Now you need to install this block that is sort of your stop, your backstop, and your micro adjust for the miter fence, and it's basically held in place with two wood screws that countersunk. You run them up through the top, or run them up through the bottom, I'm sorry, and into these pre-drilled holes, and then that allows you access to the Allen head so that you can micro adjust the fence to 90 degrees. Now at this point you want to trim your base to your saw blade so that you have a good clearance, everything fits really well before you move on to any other steps. Next you want to attach your miter gauge, or your scale I guess they call it, to the edge of the board. Now we want to attach the back fence. But before we do that, we need to attach the sacrificial block that hangs out over the end of the bar. The way that works is pretty straightforward. You use two thumb screws and two nuts. The nuts are designed to fit in the slots of the aluminum extrusion. There's a piece that sticks out and there's a slot that's routed to make allowances for that. Now we have to put in the thumb screws, or I should say the knobs, that control the miter angle and the pivot point. Okay, so at this point we want to make sure that the fence is square to the edge of the miter table or the miter sled. And the easiest way to do that is obviously to make 3 cuts and then measure diagonally and see if your measurements come out the same distance wise, and that'll tell you whether or not your sled is square. So overall, I'm fairly happy. I haven't obviously made anything yet, other than cut some wood for square. I'll probably make a follow-up video for, for this item, this device, the other half as well, and I'll give you my thoughts and feedback on using it as miter sled as well as using it as a crosscut sled. As always, if you guys like the video, please hit the like button or subscribe to my channel down at the bottom. And if you have any questions, feel free to put the comments or questions down at the bottom under the video.